James Bond meets AI in the Bahamas. You're literally breaking the seal. You open it, you go through the iconic gun barrel James Bond figure. It finishes with the explosion of the Junkanoo. It's a surprise, right? Bond ends up in Bahamas. Started my business out of my apartment in New York City by myself with just passion to make something really great. My colleague was engaged and she loved what I was doing. And she said, can you just do my wedding invitation? There was nothing out there that was what I now call couture, custom design. Like you would work with a couturier to custom design your gown, right? Today's world, everything's online and nothing can replace that tactile aspect. We're sticklers on quality and the printing techniques and the way the foils shine and catch the light against the matte paper. We care about all those and we obsess over all of those details.
You love your craft so much 22 years later. I mean, oh my gosh, goals.
Despite all the challenges, the passion is still there and we love creating. Everyone does comment like, you get so excited. I just do. It fuels me.
Behind every beautiful wedding is a story worth preserving. Hi, I'm your host, Andrea, founder of the nation's premier bouquet preservation studio. Through building that company, I've had a front row seat to thousands of weddings and the incredible professionals behind them. On Bridal Club, I bring you conversations with the experts shaping today's weddings. It's for couples planning their perfect day and the pros who make it happen. Welcome to the club, to Bridal Club.
Welcome back to another episode of Bridal Club. I know there's a lot of people watching and finding their vendors, which is honestly such an honor to be able to give a platform to our favorite vendors across the world. And for you guys to be finding your own vendors for your wedding, it really is a testament on what we're doing. And if you are a vendor here just trying to get inspired by others, oh my gosh, you are in for a treat. This is going to be so much fun. With that being said, I want to paint a story really quick. Have you ever bought a perfume or a really nice lotion that it comes in a beautiful box and you just want to keep the box? Okay, so imagine your wedding invitation with that look. Oh my God. Imagine what that feels for you, for your partner, and then for your guests. Like, how special would they feel if they get something that beautifully crafted in the mail? First of all, they're going to know how special they are to you. And also, they're not going to throw it away. And of course, that said, they're not going to miss the party. So with all that being said, I am so excited to welcome Ceci Johnson with Ceci New York to this podcast. Ceci, thank you so much for your time and for being here today.
Thank you for having me. What an intro. Wow, I'm flattered and excited to be here as well.
I would love for you to tell our audience who may not have seen your work or your face to tell us all who you are, your 22 years of experience, and honestly, you're probably not going to say this. I will say it. You are the pioneer in what you do. And I'm just so excited for the world to know you.
Thank you. Yes, I'm 22 this May. Isn't that crazy? So started my business literally with just a desire to make beautiful things for people. I'm a trained artist and designer and literally started it out of my apartment in New York City by myself with just that passion to make something really great. And before I knew it, my name was being passed around and around. I wasn't like that typical story of like, when I got married, there wasn't great choices. I just, by chance, just because I love making things for people, one of my work colleagues actually is a graphic designer. She loved what I was designing for. It was for Macy's and Bloomingdale's and like all the federated department stores. The truth is, it was the bridal registry kit. And it was the first time I started conceptualizing weddings. This was more than 22 years ago. It was like, I don't even know, 26, 27. I was like my first job in California. And yeah, my colleague was engaged and she loved what I was doing. And she said, can you just do my wedding invitation? And I approached it super different as from a graphic design mindset. I was like realizing that when I studied the wedding world, there was nothing out there that was very, what I now call couture, like very custom design, like you would work with a couturier to custom design your gown, right? To me, everything makes sense when you talk in fashion. So if you guys are all fashion girls out there, fashion people. So, when you buy off the rack, it's very templated in my mind. Everything's the same. They would call it custom in the stationery world. And it could be like, to me, I was like, that's not custom. You're picking pink or purple type and this font or that font and a very limited selection of motifs. But what I could do was so different in my head. I'm like, I want to create, I want to draw, I want to be inspired by you and make something one of a kind that really never existed before, because that ultimately was what I loved doing as a graphic designer. I would create these great projects for big brands. And I realized as my name started getting passed around and around, when I never even thought of launching Ceci New York, I realized that actually people like wonderful couples and mothers I was meeting with their daughters being like, why aren't you doing this? Like, this is so great. We've been looking for someone like you. And so anyways, long story short, I gave me the confidence to really study the industry, and I realized I could fill a niche in a really artful way and apply that personal graphic design and artistry to these personal clients, not the big brands that had the big marketing budgets, but really bring that experience and that design to personal and private events. And that's kind of how it all took off. And before I knew it, I kind of kept hearing more and more. They're like, you need to do this. And so I did, and changed my everything.
22 years ago, the weddings were just not at all what they are today. Walk me through that experience of actually making your first invitation. What was it for you, crafting something that you had never done before?
I still have the same approach and the same philosophy on every project to this day, because each one is a new opportunity to do something really great. And I'm always, everyone is like, what's your inspiration? And I'm like, sure, I get inspired by my travels and fashion and all the beautiful things that I see even just walking down the streets of New York City. But ultimately, my core inspiration is the client, right? Is getting inspired by you, telling me what you're loving, the why behind why you're having this event, why you chose the venue, why you love these colors, activating kind of all those ingredients, I like to say. Yeah. But then I take those and really apply that thinking to this project. And so in my mind, it's not just a standard 5x7 flat flimsy card. Like, that's boring. Everyone does that, you know? And that's been my first invitation was a book. It wasn't a flat card at all. I told a whole story. There was a beautiful belly band. I was like using all the paper, different kinds of papers that I love, vellums and shimmer papers, and the text pages were different. And so it's always been my desire to really create the unexpected, I guess, right? And in my mind, why do it if it's just going to be ordinary and you could get it somewhere else? I guess that's always been my philosophy. And it's just evolved and grown over the years. My first invite was a book, but it was a tiny, in my mind, 5x7. It's small compared to what we're building now. They've grown so much and they're so thick and they come in boxes. I mean, this came in an envelope, but so the creative process is always a really exciting evolution.
And I love the fact that ultimately your client is really who's telling the story, right? And you're like actually crafting everything for them. And every single one of them, it has to be different because we're all so different. And as a couple, even more so. Yeah. So
yeah, and it's not like a transaction, you know, it wasn't like when I went to those stationery stores back in the day, when I was studying the market, you picked from a very antiquated and now it's online, but like you flip through a clunky binder, it's dusty and it's very limiting, right? It's a template. And that is just, as a graphic artist, that's like the worst, most awful thing in my mind. Not to say that it's awful, but it's very limiting. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. My very first job, I was 8 years old. And there was like this stationery right next to my grandmother's house. And I was like, I want to work. I was getting paid 50 pesos in Mexico per day. So it's like less than $2.50. But it was very much like you said, it's like pick from these designs. So nothing at all what you're doing. I was actually on your Instagram this morning and I saw the James Bond invitation.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Can you walk us through that? Because I really want to show that.
Yeah. So it's a perfect example, right? Like no matter what, people have teased me that we can do anything. We can make anything look beautiful. And I'm very flattered at that, where some designers have very distinct vibe and style. Yeah. And yes, we're known for our watercolor florals and our beautiful artistry, but that's not all we do. This Bond invitation is a very good example because I think no matter what the creative challenge, we are very much those chameleons, if you will, but we're always putting it through an elegant lens and a very sophisticated, refined critique before we even approach the design, right? It's got to be tasteful and, sorry for lack of better words, not cheesy or not expected or too trendy. It's got to always have a very elegant, cool, refined vibe. So this Bond invitation, for example, the brief was literally James Bond meets AI in the Bahamas. 3 very distinctly different things that we had to pull together and make look awesome and look wow, and also be informative. That's the other thing with the invitations, is that they can't just be beautiful. They have to be functional. They have to be legible. They have to be informative. They have to do a job, right? And not just be pretty. So that was the other thing, is we have to make sure, because it was for a whole conference for 4 or 5 days, and each one had their own theme and their own vibe. Anyways, I'm pretty proud of our team. Give us any challenge and any vibes, we can pull it off and do it in a really elegant and cool way.
So in that video, for instance, which again, we're going to definitely show as the invitation is unfolding, it keeps getting better and better. And then surprise at the end, I'm like, First of all, how can I get a hold of that invitation? I don't know why I need it, but I need it in my life.
Well, you got to experience it in person because honestly, I know today's world, everything's online and that's how people are looking at Instagram or TikTok to see and shop. Nothing can replace that tactile aspect of holding, especially the CC New York work, right? Because we're sticklers on quality and the printing techniques and the way the foils shine and catch the light against the matte paper. We care about all those and we obsess over all of those details. But you can't always capture that online. They're designed to be experiences, right? Like you said, like you're literally breaking the seal. It says for your eyes only. You open it, you go through the iconic gun barrel James Bond figure, that whole thing. As you open it, and then it finishes with the explosion of the Junkanoo that's a very bohemian vibe and tradition in their culture. It's a surprise, right? So Bond ends up in Bahamas, which is where everyone's going. So yeah, I think the tactile aspect is so critical, and knowing that what you see online isn't always what other photos may look like.
Regardless of who photographs or videos your product, it just does not do justice. I have not had the pleasure of feeling. I say
Gotta get you one.
I know the feeling. I mean, I know it's like the yummy feeling of, like, as you said, like the finishes and like the thickness of the paper. You can just feel it, and it's like quality. But we said the
And
same
that-
thing about our flower preservation. It's like the same thing. Unless you see it in person and you can actually see the dimension of the flowers, we just can't capture that on.
No, totally. When you feel it, that evokes a sensibility as well. It's not just what you're looking, like seeing through your eyes, looking at the invitation, but what you're feeling. If it feels flimsy and cheap, then it's a representation of potentially what's to come. When you receive an invitation that's tastefully done and it feels important and feels thick and luxurious, and the printing, literally my production department, we're obsessing over the quality of everything, every line detail. When it's done in the right way, that's already speaking volumes about what kind of event this is. And in my mind, our humble job is to make sure that your guests are going to come to this wedding and not say no.
And as we discussed earlier, how can you even miss that? You're not gonna just not want to miss it. You're not gonna miss it. And going back to the example that I gave earlier, seriously, people like normal people like me, I'm sure I have some boxes here in my cabinets that I just kept because they're beautiful. And I'm like, why would I keep something like that? I don't know. Again, that is kind of like what your work looks like. So I can't even imagine like having that from an event. So
yeah, we've had clients tell us that the guests don't want to send back the RSVPs because it's so beautiful as a whole design set that they don't want to break it. And I'm like, no, it's okay. They can RSVP via text or ultimate compliment. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Actually, for our press pieces, we include a lot of invitations in our press pieces. And to be 100% honest with you, back when I started pressing flowers, I didn't understand why people wanted to include their invitation in a piece that is going to live in their wall forever until I got married. I was so attached to my wedding invite because ultimately it was my husband and I's entire personality in that piece of paper. I kid you not.
Yeah.
It was like rose gold, black on black, the matte finish and stuff like that. And you're so attached that, of course, now every time that we get to include an invitation in our press pieces or blogs, I'm like, oh my gosh, thank God. It looks so good and it's so personalized. I just really hope that one day we get to include one of yours in one of our pieces.
Yes. I know I'm a little biased, but you eat the cake, the flowers don't last forever.
Unless
But
you're preserved, but yeah,
Okay,
unless you're preserved.
if you have them preserved, of course.
Yeah.
But the invitation is one of the main things that is a keepsake. We're sticklers on the paper that we use. It's museum quality. It's not going to fade or bend or curl up over the years. It's going to be hopefully in the exact same place as long as you stored it properly as when you ordered it today, So it's important. And it is that one keepsake. I love it when we have clients that are like, this was my mom's invitation, and they're inspired by that. It's really special. So I hope that our invitations are kept. And
oh my gosh, I 100% feel like your clients do that. Seriously.
Yeah, we love that.
Obviously, we discussed how the invitation is a glimpse to the entire wedding. You are basically the first vendor that everybody interacts with. Obviously, like the couples get married, but also the guests. How does that feel for you? Is there pressure?
Oh my gosh, it's so much pressure. And also it's interesting because I always say 50% of our job is to do a really great creative job design-wise, but the other 50% is the execution, the project management, the actual project, the whole process of the creative process. Because a lot of times people are like, oh, just pick a pretty design and go for it. It's not like that. It's a very much a creative, collaborative process. However, it's that real first milestone in your planning process that you got to start thinking and making decisions, not just on what the invitation looks like, but how many guests are we having? What's the venue? Are we doing a weekend of events? Like all the content around the invitation and the information that us as designers have to design with and put forth and send to your guest. I mean, it starts with the save the date. Maybe it's we build a website for you. That website then is given to the guest. And then on the website, an idea of schedule of events, of what's happening, the itinerary. It's an idea of what to pack, maybe a style guide, what to wear. So you got to figure out the attire, right? It's an idea of hotels. If you're doing destination, like where are the guests going to stay? Have you booked the room blocks? There's a lot of homework. There's a lot of legwork that has to happen before you're making decisions on what the design looks like. Does that make sense?
Oh my gosh, 100%.
Collaboration.
Yes. And I'm so glad you mentioned that, because now I have a lot of questions that I didn't have before. Is aside of walking me through the journey of your clients, how far in advance do you recommend that they start the conversation with you? Because obviously you need a lot of details, but I'm sure you book well in advance too because of the customization.
Yeah. And also, I mean, listen, if you want to be the perfect A+ superstar bride and you book your invitation company or you book us with all that figured out, that's a dream come true. It's very rare. I'm just going to put it out there in case everyone's, oh my God, how am I supposed to know all that? The most important thing, I think, is you have your venue and the date before you can really hire Ceci New York or any invitation company, because the first step is really setting the save the date and have a general kind of desire of the vibe. If you're getting married in Bahamas versus New York City in a ballroom, that's very, very different vibes. I'd say essentially that has to be sorted, and at least your guest list, right? In terms of timing, this is always the magic question that everyone wants to know. And I wish, well, maybe I don't wish because it would make total sense, but it's never a one size fits all.
Yeah.
Because some people have shorter engagements, right? Some people get engaged and they want to plan for a year and a half. Some get engaged and want 6 months and do a shotgun wedding. But ultimately, our dream scenario, because we juggle, we work with all of the different schedules. But when you want something custom made, like really couture, for us, it's like a 3 to 4 month process from when you want to mail it. I always say, get your venue sorted, get your date down, and then you come call us, right? Because then the first step is save the dates. And those usually go out, they get mailed ideally 6 to 8 months before the date. But you got to back up 3 to 4 months for the printing time and the design time.
Okay.
So do we need 3 to 4 months for a standard save the date? Probably not. Things can go faster, but the sooner you do it, let the experts manage your schedule for you.
Right.
And you can just relax, And then our project managers make schedules for you. So then you don't have to stress and be like, when am I supposed to send invites? When am I supposed to do this? You already know, okay, I got it booked and I'm going to just first round's coming this day. And then we manage accordingly. But for invitations, if you take that 3 to 4 month lead time, they should be mailed more like this 6 to 8 weeks before the wedding. So that's like 2 months before the wedding. So you really want to be booking invitations like 6 to 8 months-ish. That's why I'm saying it. The time adds up.
Yeah.
And the more elaborate they are, the more artful. And if we're doing custom paintings and hand making boxes and folios or book invitations or pop-ups or things where I always joke birds are flying out of it. The more time we have, the more luxury it is to enjoy the creative process and just let us do what we do best, basically.
I love it. So we talk about save the dates, invitations, and then you mentioned websites. What is a whole package for a wedding? Can you walk me through all the items?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. So you mentioned like when I started wedding websites and all these elaborate gifting and day of stuff and weddings turning into full weekends. That didn't really exist before. Now it's evolved into a much more amazing experiential timeline, right? Usually it's, well, not usually, but some clients are choosing to do the full weekends now. So to start, it's the save the date. And usually the wedding website goes with the save the date. So we love, and we can, if you want, we're as full service as you want. We manage we design and print and manage it and can mail it for you to save the date. But we also get that website done and designed and it matches. So everything's very cohesive. I come from a branding background. So that was also something that I applied that sort of brand concept to these personal events. And now it's become a thing. If there's a title called event branding that we're playing with. So that event branding and that vibe of your wedding is established right away. That way, if we do it, the website matches and then the invitation follows. And then from there, then it's the wedding experience. So we call it day of accessories or weekend accessories. If you want to do welcome bags, if you're doing a gifting experience for your guests, then everything down into the day of, like the menus, the place cards, the dance floor graphics, the bar graphics now, because our artwork translates into environmental graphics, like the party graphics,
Wow.
cocktail napkins, you name it. We're doing all sorts of fun things. That's what's so cool about events these days. There's no limits to it. And thank you notes, of course. I think I forgot that. I always recommend to do that with your invitations.
I love it. And honestly, for those couples that have a brand made out of their wedding with you and they have a monogram or something, that's something that they can use for the rest of their lives. Oh my gosh, what a dream to work with you. I wish we had.
No, it's true. And I love visiting my clients. Sometimes I'll get invited over for brunch or something and walk into their house and they've got the logo on their linen, on the napkins, or in their bathroom napkins. Or we even had one client once have it like, because it was created as an and in the entrance of their wedding, they had the logo cut out of like a brass metal detail and they put it in their front yard of their house like after the wedding. I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
So they really continued that branding all the way through. And then their stationery matches. And like, I'm like, I love you guys.
Yeah,
So
I am so glad we're having this conversation because I feel like people that are looking for invitations, they're going to start seeing all of this very differently. If you can have a branding made for you and your spouse and something that is going to translate for the rest of your life, hopefully, honestly, pass down generations. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. What an heirloom, honestly.
we've done family crests because for couples who didn't have a real family crest and we made one up for them and then they've had children, they've called us back and they're like, can you evolve it? I'm like, yeah. So it's like, it's exactly what you're saying. That's what's so fun about it.
Yeah,
Design.
amazing. Okay, so walk me through just somebody who just out comes across your Instagram and says, I want her to do my invitation creatives. What happens?
So
then?
we have evolved into, there's 2 levels of service essentially. For those who maybe want to go down our CC collection path, there's CC collection and CC couture. So collection means they want to see the designs. It's essentially existing designs. You have the luxury of being able to mix and match and change colors and fonts and make it your own, but you're starting with an existing design. It's less price point, it's faster turnaround times, same quality, same creative experience from a like proofing process point of view. You're just kind of fast tracking the ideation, right? Whereas CC Couture is for those who are like, I want to tap into Ceci's brain and her design team, and I want them to come up with really creative, new, never been seen before ideas. And you commission us. And then we have something called a CC Couture concepts presentation that I think is a really fun way to start versus having to, I don't know how to say this other than you're having these conversations, you're like listening to these creatives that you're potentially going to spend thousands of dollars with. And you're like, I don't no idea what you're talking about or really what it's going to look like. And you have to take that leap of faith, right? Just based on a proposal. But what I like to do is it's a small fee to commission us. And then we essentially do the creative. And I always say, you don't have to be a designer. That's our job. We're literally just getting to know you and we're coming back to you with concepts all inspired by you. So what do you get? You get a full creative presentation, mood boards, color palettes, font studies that are all curated for you. Sketches of that logo we talked about, and actual sketches of our ideas that we spent time brainstorming, literally sourcing materials, researching, all the ideation that come because of us being inspired by you and your event, right? And then that what you see is literally sketches of like concept A, concept B, concept C, maybe D. And it depends on, we're very curious designers and we love to play and surprise and delight our clients. But what's cool is then you're actually seeing the art, right? The concepts, the thinking, and paired with the cost. And probably everyone's like, oh my gosh, but how much is it? And that's so crazy. What if I can't afford it? But the good thing is that we have an honest conversation, a very transparent conversation in the beginning to be like, all right, where do we feel comfortable budget wise? Because I'm never going to take you down a creative road that you're like, this is amazing, but it's 10 times what I wanted to spend. And then why do that? We're in a very uncomfortable place. You're unhappy. I'm unhappy because I want to make something, we all want to make something beautiful for you. So instead, we give you an idea of ranges, what could be, and then that once we have that target goal, then we design within that range. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you're seeing concepts that are within the budget that we establish as the target. And then from there, you pick your favorite ones, or maybe you might be like, I love little bits of this and this and this. And then we move forward with that. And so those sketches become then turned into the final art, right? There's a whole creative process that evolves and that you get to go through. So those sketches then start to become more of a reality and get more and more refined, all of the design rounds that we have ahead. So it's a very easy, very creative and collaborative process. We have account managers who hold your hand every step of the way. And yeah, and it's just really fun. And then it's great to kind of see the before and after of how it evolves.
I love it. I have a couple questions. So whenever, just pretend that I set a budget and you come up with like a few designs, I already know that I would fall in love with everything that you produce, that I'm probably going to be like, okay, let's spend more. Have you ever had that happen?
Yeah, sure. I mean, listen, if you want to go there, we can go there. Like and also it happens. I never want anything to feel final until we have to literally sign off, right? And it's got to go to print. But like the creative process is fun. Like we don't need to spin it right away. So if we present concepts and you're like, okay, I'm loving number one, but I also now am inspired and I want to see what it would be like to like, I don't know, what if we tied it with some metal and had a charm or whatever, or I don't know. Maybe you want to see it go in a box.
Yeah.
Or maybe you want to explore like 3D flowers on it. Like we'll be like, great, let's play with that. Here's an idea of what it could be cost wise. Does this feel good to you? If we want to go there, we'll go there. You know, or let's even as simple as like maybe it's a liner, like there's a liner in an envelope, maybe not. We can show you what that looks like. And then you could be like, okay, it's worth it. I want to spend the extra $1,000 or whatever the dollar amount is. And then we add it in, because why hold back if you feel it? And sometimes in my opinion, you just got to start. Like you just got to start the creative process. It's like putting an outfit on. Again, it always goes back to fashion. You put it on and you're like, oh, I think I need a necklace. Oh, maybe another bracelet. Oh, are these earrings right? Let's change it. Like it's not the same thing.
I love it. I love it so much. And I hope that our audience, if they haven't gotten married, obviously they haven't experienced this, but if they're in the process of finding obviously their vendors, just imagine, like I really want you to think about this. Imagine having your personality and your spouse's or your soon-to-be spouse put together, merged together into literally something physical. This is literally what you're doing with this. Again, oh my goodness, I really hope that you can grasp that, because again, your whole personality is going to be on paper, literally. So how
totally. And like we just did a book invitation inspired because they were getting married at the New York Public Library, and they had such a cool story. And on the cover, if you look at it first glance, it's like green velvet material with gold foil. At first glance, it looks like a gorgeous old world book, right? But as you look closer, there's really little personal vignettes in each corner that are like the first place they had their date. It's like a noodle restaurant. And then they lived in Seattle, or like there's a portrait of their dog. Like all these little illustrations that represent their love story, right? Like Easter eggs, right?
Yeah.
But you see close. And that is exactly what you're talking about. It becomes an even more personal keepsake and like a memento of you guys, couple, and your life together. So,
and as a guest,
I love that.
As a guest, being able to receive something from somebody, obviously, if you're getting an invitation, it's because you're important to the couple, period. Whether that is family, friends, or like even coworkers or whatever. And having that and being like, oh my God, this is telling the whole story for the wedding as we discussed, but then also as a couple, because sometimes you may know the bride or you may know the groom and you may not know them together as a couple, but having that invitation really does paint the story of who they are and who they're going to continue to be as a family. So that's
exactly.
Ceci, I have a question for you, and I'm going to just put you on the spot here. Do you have a project that is your favorite that you want to talk about? Like,
I hate this question. First of all, my kids make fun of me because they're like, Mom, why don't you have a favorite color? Mom, why don't you have a favorite song? I'm like, I
don't have a favorite color?
No, I know it's a problem. There's got to be some title for this, like, disorder that I have. I think it's because I don't know if you guys believe in the Chinese zodiac. I'm like a dragon. I'm a mythical creature. I can transform into anything in my head. This is what they say. And I think because maybe that's also why when we were talking about the James Bond invitation, why our range of design capabilities is so broad, because we love the creative challenge. So when it comes to favorite colors, I'm like, well, it depends on the context. What color do I like wearing most? Probably black. I know I'm wearing white today, but it's spring. You know what I mean? But what color is the most calming for me? I think blue, because I think of the ocean. I love looking at the ocean. I wish maybe I had a favorite.
No, I honestly love that.
Always pink, but I think
no, I honestly love that even more for you, because you literally mentioned a chameleon earlier, and chameleon literally changed colors depending on whether you're literally a chameleon, and I love that so much.
So when it comes to the question of what's your favorite design, I'm like, oh my God, it's like literally picking your favorite child, because we put so much energy and passion into each project. It's very hard for me to pick favorites, because like we could do a very beautiful invite for a wedding that was in Paris, and it's got such gorgeous textiles and materials and this beautiful silk ribbon and a wax seal. But then we also have done this incredible wedding invitation that literally the couple's new last name was Lockett, and they had to unlock literally a real lock in the box that we made.
Wow.
It said hashtag Lockett on it. The guests had to unlock, they got the key, they unlocked the lock, undo the beautiful silk ribbon, and the box just opens naturally. The sides just fall open and it reveals the invite inside. That's a sculptured piece of art, basically suspended in this black metal frame with handmade white paper flowers all the way around it, right? Like, how do you compare the two? It's like both are beautiful in their own right. So that's why it's just a funny thing.
That's honestly a fair answer, to be honest.
Okay.
Like for being a mom, and that's the part that sometimes I'm just so mesmerized. It's honestly so inspired by people like you, because I cannot wait to be a mother myself. I want to make sure that I am able to spend time with my kids, and right now it's not necessarily the perfect timing. How do you manage that? Can you please tell us? I know there's a lot of vendors listening that either have kids or want to have kids. Tell us a little bit.
Listen, there's no perfect answer to this. And like, I think the biggest answer in my head is creating boundaries for yourself and for, the business. Even today, my husband's out of town. He had to go visit his family, and I have to be in New York City. My son woke up sick. I'm like, oh no. I mean, he's 14 now. So I'm like, okay, you're staying home. I have to get to New York City. I'm coming back. It's just like the jungle is real.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately I said this to my team, and I'm very fortunate to have a team that I love and trust, and they're amazing. And we have a really great operation going. So when I was first pregnant, I'm like, hey, we have a new member joining in 8 months, like 6 months or whatever, and not having a baby to give it to the nanny and never see it. So it really created that discipline's the best word, like me being stricter with my time, like more protective of my time. And I think that's actually made me a better, I hate the word boss, but like a leader.
You're a leader.
Yeah, a better leader. Thank you. Able to set clear expectations. I want you guys to have a work-life balance too, to all my team members. So I kind of had to release the guilt, because we feel guilty as entrepreneurs. We are leaving our first baby, which is my business in my case, and then going home to the kids. But you feel like, did I do enough at work? And did I do enough at home? And there's always that mental balance of like, am I doing okay? But I think if you set expectations with yourself and with the team or with your clients, like, it's okay to not pick up the phone after 6 o'clock. You're going to be fine, and the clients will be fine too. And at the end of the day, no one's dying. I know, maybe, sorry for all the brides who are like, it's my wedding. It's my favorite day of my life. Of course, it's the most important day of your life at that time. But realistically, we're all human, right? And we're all working for everyone to do the best job possible. But answering a question at 9 o'clock at night versus 9 in the morning, in my opinion, we are rested. We are well prepared to talk to someone. There's no difference from 9 p.m., except you're probably not going to get that answer solved at 9 o'clock at night as you would at 9 in the morning, because we can actually take action on it. I have a lot to share on this. My oldest is 14 now, so it's been a lot of ups and downs, and it's not easy. But I just think part of it is releasing the guilt, setting the expectations, and knowing it's okay, and being present. And I know that word's kind of overdone, but being very present for your business, for your clients and your design team or your team. And then being very much, like I say, I just wear different hats. So like, I'm taking off my business hat, I'm putting my mom hat on, and I'm like focused on that. And that's just so much nicer. Otherwise, before you know it, you're just running on a hamster wheel, and your kids are grown up and out of the house. And you're like, what did I do? I missed everything. Right?
Yeah.
There's no balance, and you just go crazy, in my opinion. You won't be able to sleep at night.
My husband is an entrepreneur as well. We have a building. He's downstairs. I'm on the second floor, and we literally leave the studio at 8:30 at night. Then we cook dinner and stuff like that. But honestly, and I hate that we're doing this, but honestly, sometimes we're like on the phone while we're having dinner together.
You gotta stop that.
Start now. I know.
By the way, kids go to bed at 7:30, so that 8 o'clock stop time at work is going to change real fast. Some days I come home from work and I'm like, oh my gosh, it could be as late as 8 o'clock or 9, and they're like already in bed. What kind of life? I don't know. Again, that's my personal opinion. I want to be able to be there for my kids and put them to bed. And I want them to remember that mommy was there and that,
100%. And this is honestly why I wanted to have that conversation. And it's funny that you mentioned the hat and you kind of did this. For those that are not watching, she basically mimicked putting a hat on and taking one off. It's so easy. That term is so widely used, like, oh, just wear all these hats. And whenever I hear like, oh, we wear all these hats, I'm like envisioning somebody putting hats on, not taking it off. And the fact that you literally mimicked somebody taking off a hat, that's the key.
You have to take it off. You can't just put another one on top of it. Making dinner and answering emails and I'm calling, doing a conference call while the kid's screaming on your feet. You can't. It's just, you're going to break. Like you physically lose it. Set expectations with your clients. My office hours are 9 to 6. That's what we do. Or you pick 10 to 5, whatever works for you. And be good about it. It takes discipline on both sides. It's setting expectations. I know that it sounds like I've got it all sorted, but really, trust me, after this long, it has worked because I used to be afraid. Like, will I lose clients? Will they be upset with me because I'm not answering their calls late at night? We're in a personal business. They work. Everyone finds time to go to the doctor or go to the dentist in the middle of the day. They will find time to talk to you and it'll be fine. And I'm living proof.
Thank you so much. As I said, obviously I see you as a mom. I'm like, how does she do it all? Because even working out for me, I'm working out in between sets every morning. I'm like working and answering emails. Sometimes I'm like, I just want to enjoy myself. Honestly, my favorite time in the mornings for me is when I meditate because I don't bring my phone with me. I literally have my eyes closed. My red light therapy is on. When I
have that same exact mentality for all the compartments in your life.
Yes.
Do you see
I
what
love
I'm saying?
that. I appreciate
that's it. And then you're like, okay, I've got my meditation time. I've got my work, whatever your podcast recording time, your work time. I've got when you have your family, and start practicing now with your husband. I got my husband time.
Yes. I love it.
And do it not at 8 o'clock at night, like
so much. Thank you. I've already learned so much from this podcast.
Oh, good. Good. It works. It's really, it's like preparing yourself for motherhood because it's going to take over whether you like it or not.
Yeah, I bet. I want to talk to you about your business and all of these things, but then I know that you're teaching too, and you're a speaker and you're a mentor. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Listen, I had been at this a long time, and honestly, I've never had a mentor or I've never had a board of directors or anyone. I do wish, and I would love it. So if anyone thinks they can help me, please, email, DM, call me. But I guess I was always very impatient when I started my business. I always wanted the answers. I wanted someone to tell me that this is the right path you're on. Just keep going, And I realized that like success doesn't come overnight. It's not just gonna be like a straight line up and you're famous and everything's great. It's a crazy, nasty up and down roller coaster ride, literally full of emotions and lonely nights and doubt and all the negative that comes with it. So I just wished I had someone to help me. So I am very passionate about helping others. I've been invited to speak around the world, which I'm so grateful for. And I really do love being able to share my lessons learned and the tips, just like we're talking about now with motherhood. Like I didn't know what I was doing, but I've been through the beatdown enough to recognize, okay, if this is the kind of life you want to lead, then this is the discipline you need to implement. And that way, I can share and help others, and especially other women in business. When it comes to women in business, I feel like there is an extra need to face the fears and stand up for yourself, and really as a creative as well, like how to price, how to really know your worth and what your value is and what makes sense for you to pay your bills, to make money. Like we're in a business at the same time. I always joke that like love doesn't pay the bills because as creators, we're very passionate. We love making for our clients, right? I love it. But if they're not willing to pay what it costs on your prices, then you have to be okay and comfortable with they're just not the right fit for me, because you could go work at McDonald's and make more money. That's the irony sometimes.
Yeah.
And when I put that into perspective, they're like, oh, I would never. I'm like, would you ever accept a job? Let's just say I'm like, oh my gosh, Andrea, you're amazing. Like, I want to hire you. I'm going to give you this fancy role. You're going to be super high up and I'm going to pay you $5 an hour. You'd be like, never.
Yeah.
Like, right. But we do that sometimes as entrepreneurs.
Yeah. And I remember like, I didn't pay myself for years, like at all. I was eating with the little money that I had in my bank account, but I was like, I don't want to be an expense for my company. And then it took a CPA, I think it was like 3 years later, that told me, no, first of all, that's one of the first things that you need to pay yourself. Yeah. And then you figure out everything else backwards, basically. And that was an eye opener for me. And I know a lot of people that I mentor myself are on the same boat that you're mentioning. They don't account their time as anything. They count everything else, but not their time. I'm like, that is the most important part.
Totally. And then as the creative process evolves, they might just be like, oh, it's okay. I'll just add that in. I won't charge them. Or I'm afraid to say that it's going to cost more. Like,
Yes.
why? If you go to a restaurant and you order another round of drinks, you're built for that. If you go to a fashion store and you want to buy 2 pairs of jeans, like,
Yeah.
you pay for 2 pairs of jeans. Like,
Sure.
where else in our world do you get just extra stuff? Like, with, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, I don't want to get down too far down the rabbit hole, but ultimately, I think as creatives, most of us didn't go to business school. I never went to business school. Mine was like real hard knocks of real life. So it's very, I don't know, it's a weird gift. My dad was an entrepreneur. My mom was very creative. Maybe they both gave me kind of those two sides, but it's very easy for me to talk to someone. Literally, you can have an hour meeting and I've got it by the end of that meeting, I've got it so clearly mapped out for them that they're like, whoa, how does that happen? But it's exciting for me to be able to easily help create clarity and confidence in a very quick conversation where I know personally you can be spinning your wheels for so long, years sometimes, being like, how can I get the dream client I want? How can I charge more? How do I take my business to the next level? And I'm just like, okay, here it is. Let's go.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I feel like a lot of people are going to love this type of conversation and honestly seek your expertise and your time. I honestly would. So I love that. Hey, before we go, I definitely want to talk about all the things that you're doing with your lifestyle products. I don't know if people know about this. I just want you to tell us all the things and where they can actually find them, because if they can have your products in their lives like me, I just really want to explore that.
No, thank you. It's a very exciting new silo of business that we're doing and we're playing in. For years, I've heard from our clients, I love the print you painted for my wedding invitation. I want it as wallpaper in my bathroom, or I want it as a pillow in my house. And so we have recently, in the last 6 years, I guess, since COVID, started really partnering, maybe right before COVID, actually, with Nuage Linens. It started with that, where we've created collections, like of beautiful linens that you can bring into your life. You can rent them for events, you can rent them for your personal parties. And then it's evolved into phone cases. So our partner Bandolier, I have one right here, that has my artwork on it. This is another recent print with a cheetah print. And they are now something everyone carries your phone every day. So the concept is, how can we, beautify your world every day? We twillies and scarves, and the prints carry over into more lifestyle products above and beyond the events world and invitation. So we have a lot of cool new products coming and launching. They're all accessible on our website, and we link off to our partners or promote it so you can find it there. And we're just excited about it. It's fun. It's exciting and I guess fun for me to see, like, when you spot someone walking down the street holding one of your products and wearing a tote bag or a scarf that you made, and seeing your artwork now out in the world or in the wild in new ways it's the new passion project for me. But
good for you. Good for you. You are honestly an inspiration. I've been loving everything you're putting on Instagram, and I'm so happy that you're here today. And you know what? 22 years later, look at your smile and look how seriously your eyes just open even more, and you're shining every time that you're talking about creative. And the fact that you love your craft so much 22 years later. I mean, oh my gosh, goals for everybody. Seriously. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's true. Even despite all the challenges, the passion is still there and we love creating. Everyone does comment like, you get so excited. And I'm like, I just do. I light up with every new client that we speak to. If they're excited and they appreciate great design and what we can offer, it fuels me.
I love it. I love it. Where can people find you, connect with you? I know there's a lot of vendors, again, that are going to want to seek the mentorship. So all of that, where can we find that information?
Yes. Okay. So definitely Instagram's great. Ceci New York, CECINEWYORK. And then my personal Instagram, which if you want to follow my crazy multitasking world of motherhood, entrepreneurship, travel, all the things, art, of course, it's at Ceci Johnson. So CECIJOHNSON. Our website, cecnewyyork.com. We're on all the socials at Ceci New York.
Thank you so much for your time. This was lovely.
Thank you. Very excited to be here.